didn't hit it until about halfway through. I was so scared of judgment. I was scared of telling my mom. It was always expected that it was waited until after marriage. When my mom first found out that I was pregnant, she was like, well, things are gonna look different. Like, she was pretty tough at first because I think she was just so angry and upset about the lack of honesty on my end. My mom was a teen mom herself. She wanted me to not face the adversity that she faced. Anytime I felt judgment, it was really just like looks, and I had to get really tough with that. I was scared. My son's dad was scared.
Using some of the hardest parts of our lives and turning them into a stepping stone that we didn't have for other people, I think is one of the most beautiful things we can do with something that can be so traumatic for us. Statistics said the odds were against her. As a pregnant teenager, many people assumed her story was already written, that she wouldn't finish high school, that her dreams would be put on hold, and that motherhood would define her for the rest of her life. But Janie refused to let an unplanned pregnancy determine her future. In this episode, she shares how she overcame countless obstacles to walk across her high school graduation stage, earn her college degree, and now is prepared to graduate with her master's degree. Her story is proof that an unexpected beginning does not have to dictate the ending. If this is your first time listening, welcome. Unplanned and Untold is completely donor funded, and we rely on generous supporters like yourself. If you believe no student mom should face an unplanned pregnancy alone, consider making a tax-deductible donation through the link in our show notes. And if you're enjoying this show, a free and easy way to help us out is by following us on social media or by leaving a 5-star review. It truly makes a huge difference. Let's go ahead and dive right in by welcoming Janie to Unplanned and Untold. Well, Janie, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
We are excited to have you because very rarely do I get to interview women who have had an unplanned pregnancy even earlier than college days. And you experienced an unplanned pregnancy as a teenager. Talk to us. How old were you when you found out you were pregnant?
I was 16 when I found out I was pregnant, and I had my son just maybe a month after I turned 17.
Oh my gosh. So what year in high school did that make you?
I was a junior, and I had him the summer between junior and senior year.
So what was high school life like prior to getting pregnant?
I loved school. I loved the idea of school. Socially, it was a little, awkward. I never really fully felt like I fit in, but probably like most people do.
Yes.
I was class president actually the year that I found out I was pregnant, which was, a whole nother layer.
Yeah.
So I cheered.
Okay.
I cheered since middle school, and I was involved in all like the clubs I think that my school offered, pretty much all of them. I took AP and honors classes, and then, like I said, I was the class president that year. It was we had fun with that. I went up against my friend, and it worked out. But then rolling with that after I came out about my pregnancy, I had to really still prove that I didn't change. Nothing about me changed other than that I was now expecting.
I think that's one of the hardest parts because when you're in an unplanned pregnancy situation, for some reason, everybody thinks you can't do any leadership positions anymore. You're not capable of it. And that's a really hard pill to swallow. Talk to me about telling your parents you're pregnant. Well, first of all, how did you even realize you were pregnant at 16? And then how did you tell your parents?
I don't even know if I ever told my mom about this until I was rehearsing for the podcast and planning what I was going to say. I actually did a DIY at-home pregnancy test at first with baking soda.
Wait,
silly.
What? Okay, hold on. Baking soda, talk me through. I've never heard of this.
I don't know. I don't remember the specifics other than I think my son's father, I did it with his sister later on too. And she did the same thing, and we kind of tested it like a science experiment.
Oh
but
my
it's
gosh.
something to do with baking soda.
Yeah.
And whatever it was, I mean, it was, I think, similar to it. It was just like a little science experiment.
Yeah.
But the results for that were overwhelmingly positive. It was if it bubbles up and over, then you're pregnant. And it bubbled up and over, and I'm like, okay, well, this is either real
Yeah.
or it's not. And then, of course, we went and got an actual test and tested my son and I think, I mean, my son's father and I. Um, and I think I was late on my period, but it was pretty still early on when I found out I was pregnant.
What were the emotions going through your mind as it was confirmed looking at a positive pregnancy test at 16?
I was terrified. The main thing was that I was so scared of judgment. I was scared of
Mm.
telling my mom. Like, my parents were really sweet and loving, but I never, it really, it was always expected that it was waited until after marriage. My
Mhm.
mom was a teen mom herself, so that added
Okay.
another layer of she wanted me to not face the adversity that she faced.
Yeah, I could see
And things worked out well for my mom and dad, but they worked really hard, so she wanted differently for me. So I was scared, my son's dad was scared.
yeah.
I knew that my life would look very different than what I had anticipated. um, so a lot of emotions, but I went immediately into planning mode after that.
Did you have to step off the cheer squad and from being class president?
I didn't have to, so I stayed class president.
Okay.
I actually stayed, I was in a youth leadership club as well, and I was worried that they would make me step down. I don't know if they knew or if they didn't know or what, but I wasn't asked to step down from anything, thankfully. I think that would have
Wow.
been really painful, but I did
Yes.
have to, I think I found out in September, and around December, when I was about halfway through, I told my coach that
Okay.
I was not going to be able to. I had to tell all the girls, and it was so hard, um, because I loved cheerleading. The social dynamics of that were hard,
Yeah.
but I loved cheerleading, and I wanted to cheer in college, so it was difficult.
What was your coach's reaction and your teammates' reaction to this news?
It was rough. I had support from my close friends on the team, but a lot of those people at that time it seemed like very invested. Like, my coach was very invested in my future, almost to a point where I think it felt very painful for her too.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that was difficult. That was not an area that I received a ton of support other than my friends that were already on the team.
That's got to be really hard. I mean, finding out you're pregnant in college is so incredibly scary. And you're in your 20s, that's five years longer, But to find out in high school, I really can't imagine. What was it like finishing school? Did you announce it to people? Were you trying to hide it? What did that look like for you?
I hid it until about halfway through. And I mean, because I really didn't show a whole lot. I didn't
Yeah.
get like super big. I was pretty small until maybe like March, and then it was getting close to being out for summer, anyways. Um, so I announced it probably around Christmas,
Okay.
and things were pretty okay. I had a lot of people in my corner. Anytime I felt judgment, it was really just like looks or and I had to get really tough with that. But
Mhm.
most people weren't like rude to my face. I think it was super meaningful that the impact I had on some of these people was it outweighed the tabooness of me being pregnant.
Yeah.
These people would still be in my corner despite the small town feel and it not really being acceptable that I was pregnant at the age I was. I had a lot of people take up for me and check on me constantly, and that was overwhelmingly positive. The support that I had, I can't say enough about that.
That's beautiful. So, talk about dreams for college. Did you always want to go to college? Finding out you're pregnant in high school, did you think that's the end of this dream?
There was there were moments like when my mom first found out that I was pregnant. She was like, "Well, things are gonna look different." Like, she was pretty tough at first because I think she was just so angry and upset about the lack of honesty on my end. That she was like, "Well, you're gonna miss out. Like, you're gonna have to step up to the plate."
Mm.
Um, and I had always wanted to like cheer in college, maybe be in a sorority, maybe go out of state for college. Um, but my mom came around pretty quickly after. I think it was later that night, and she was like, "Baby, like we're gonna do whatever we need to do. We're gonna
Mm.
love the baby. We'll figure it out. You are gonna step up, but we will be here to support you every step of the way." And I think they really wanted it for me too. I was a first generation college grad.
Wow.
So yeah, I think they wanted it for me too. So it was an achievement for them as well that we all kind of got to celebrate at graduation that I did this, but of course with their help. Um, yeah, so my expectations for college were very different.
Hmm.
But it's so beautiful how things work out because if I would have cheered or been in a sorority or moved away for college, I wouldn't have been around. My mom got cancer in
Wow.
college, and I would have been away from her.
Wow.
And it's just funny how things work out that I was able to be close to home. I met my husband at a job I worked during college. So it all works out.
Absolutely. Getting pregnant so young, did you feel like you had to grieve anything that most people probably would never see or know?
I had to grieve, of course, the idea that I had for my future.
Mm.
Um, I held myself to really high standards too, so I had to grieve that of I felt like there was this expectation that I would, be all of these things, and it really made people doubt me that I didn't live up to their expectations and that I got pregnant unexpectedly in high school. What was the second part of the question?
Was there anything that you had to grieve that people just didn't see?
Yeah, so I had to grieve a lot of the social aspects of the judgment that I faced from people really changed my the circles that I wanted to
Mm.
participate in, and my view of other people. But to be more positive about it, I think that we become the people that we wished we had during difficult
Mhm.
times. So I hope that some of the adverse judgments and experiences that I faced allow me to be a better person for other people in the future.
I agree. Using some of the hardest parts of our lives and turning them into a stepping stone that we didn't have for other people, I think is one of the most beautiful things we can do with something that can be so traumatic for us. So, looking at the different gaps that are there, resource gaps, and being able to fill them. I know we'll get to this question later, but your unplanned pregnancy shaped your career path. And as it does a lot of the women that I interview, which goes to show just how life altering an experience like this is. A lot of the women I interview on this podcast, they've already settled into college life. So they're having to figure out just another maybe year or two. Sometimes they get pregnant early on, but usually it's junior, senior year.
Mhm.
And they're just having to figure out how to finish. Now you're coming into college with a child. What was it like starting off freshman year being a mom and a college student?
It was better than high school.
Yeah.
For me. I had already started learning a lot about myself and my identity as a young mom, that it was easier to navigate that. And I experienced a lot more support. I just think it was a little bit more acceptable
Mm-hmm.
where I was at, but I also, people didn't see me pregnant. It was my choice
Right.
to share about
Yeah.
my son. So I did get a lot of support in that regard. College was interesting. In the beginning, I had to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It was trying to balance, what does college look like? What is like, am I going to be able to work too? But thankfully, we figured it out between my parents helping and my son's dad. He was involved through all of it.
Wow.
We sorted it out. A lot of the times, it would look like me coming home on the weekends. And that was in the beginning. And then COVID was in the middle of my college experience.
Okay.
And but by the end of it, we had gotten it down to a T, and I was with my now husband, and I would have my classes into just a couple of days, and he'd bring him up, and we'd make a bunch of memories while he was up here, and then my son would go back with him down to my hometown to be with his dad, and um, but the support really made it to where I still had a lot of the college experience that I wanted. I just had to be very intentional with my time. I look back and don't know how I did it because I worked like part-time jobs. I kept a pretty high GPA. I was still in clubs and all the things. I'm very, very grateful for the support system.
I mean, you had to be extremely strategic and organized.
Hmm.
What are some attributes that you felt helped you push through juggling all of these different aspects so young?
I just think I'm a chronic optimist now. I don't know if I've always like identified as that, but nowadays I'm so hopeful. And maybe that's like it's privileged, of course, but I've been very grateful in my life, and I'm thankful for all the support that I've had. But I would like to hope that everything works out how it's supposed to and that we can grow from difficult experiences. So I really try to view everything from that lens, even though sometimes it might be harder.
It's a beautiful perspective. Glass half full versus glass half empty is always such a beautiful perspective. And a lot of times I tell women, you fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
There might not be a plan. You might not know how you're going to do it, but as long as you stay true to who you are
Mm-hmm.
and you keep fighting for what you want, you fight for that college degree, you'll figure out a way to make it all work. You really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, in what ways did this unplanned pregnancy shape how you see yourself as a woman, as a mother, and especially after graduation?
I think that young me would be so proud of all that I accomplished, and I view myself as much more capable of handling anything that comes my way, and brave and strong. And I don't know that I would have said any of those things before my unplanned pregnancy, but I think it's pretty dang cool that I turned something that a lot of people would see as a failure
Mhm.
into something so beautiful and positive. So I think I view myself pretty well. I'm really proud of my son, myself, my son's dad too. Like we all just grew up a lot.
Wow. So take us back to the day you graduated from college. That had to be a surreal moment because you had to fight to graduate from high school. And now here you are, first generation graduate in your family. You had to have all the feels.
All the feels. Because there were so many moments that I didn't think like it would be possible. Having my family there and my son there and everybody supporting, it just was so surreal. Extremely proud of how far we had all come and how much
Mhm.
work we had put in to get to that place. Um, I it could have felt like the end of my story if I didn't have all the support that I did when I found out I was pregnant.
Mhm.
But it was able to be like a beginning that we graduated high school together and we graduated college together.
Oh my goodness. I wish I was a fly on the wall for all these graduations, to be honest.
And I have another one coming up.
Talk to us
So
about that.
very exciting.
Y-
Well, master's degree in
Yes.
counseling,
Oh
hopefully in
my
December.
gosh. So it sounds like having an unplanned pregnancy might have influenced your professional pathway, your career path after graduation. Is that true?
For sure. I always knew that I wanted to work with people during difficult times in their life in some regard. I didn't know if that was psychiatry at first or
Okay.
what, but I love just talking with people. I'm such a people person, and sitting with people during their difficult moments and helping them navigate that. So for sure, back to the you become who you wish you had.
Right.
I love that I'm not scared of the difficult moments and the messy
Mhm.
moments,
Yeah.
and being able to sit with people during um, all of their emotions.
Absolutely. And it makes you more relatable. I feel like having walked through difficult times in my life has made me more relatable to so many people because a lot of times people see, just the outside, the shiny smile, the
Mhm.
beautiful family, the great career, and they don't quite realize we have pasts as well. And we have had
Mhm.
to overcome a lot of things. So, on a lot of levels, I love when I start talking to people and the walls start coming down, that there's some relatability in sharing the struggles that we have overcome.
Yeah, for sure. I love knowing what has led people to become who they are today.
Yes. So, what are your hopes for the future when it comes to conversations surrounding unplanned pregnancies? Because even in today's world, this is a topic that still is not talked about a whole lot. I mean, we got a TV series, 16 and Pregnant, but other than that, even that show had a different lens to it. What are your hopes for the future when it comes to these types of conversations?
I hope that there's a lot more room for nuance. The older I get, the more that I see that everybody's paths are different. And for example, not everybody wants to stay with the partner that they conceived with. And that might not be it might not always be the best case. Things are different now. I hope that in sex education, there's a lot more room for compassion and allowing people to decide what's best for them and getting all of the information that they need to make those choices. And I also hope that we continue putting efforts and resources into these programs for moms, baby steps, things like WIC. That made a big difference in allowing me to focus on our future and not just surviving. I hope that all of that becomes more normalized because it is normal, and these moms and babies are our future.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. You said it so well. So when you look at your child today, what do you hope that they understand about what it took to get you to where you are?
I hope that he never feels like anything is not figure outable. I hope that he knows that he is not a mistake, and that even though the timing was not expected, that he has been the biggest blessing in my life and steered it in the direction that it is now. I hope that he views this as inspiration to be the best father that he can be, that anybody can grow under any circumstances, really, into the person that they want to be for themselves or for a little baby.
Yes.
And I hope that he really values our support system that we had, because they made such a big difference in our lives. And so whether that's in his own family in the future, or just being grateful for our current family, or seeing value in spreading awareness for support for moms like this.
I love that. I have the same dreams and aspirations for my son, and for him to know being strong runs in your bloodline, buddy. There's not an obstacle that you can't overcome. I love this last question to ask guests. If you could go back to your younger self, you're 16, you're staring at that positive pregnancy test, and you're so panicked and filled with so many emotions, what would you tell that younger girl?
You have all of what you need within you. Trust yourself. Don't spend so much time worrying. Just trust the process. You'll figure it out. You've got this. Whether or not it felt like this was in your plan, it will become the best thing that's happened in your life.
I agree. Oh, Janie, thank you so much for sharing your heart with me and for all of our listeners. We really appreciate women like you who are bold enough to come share their narrative, share everything that they have overcome. And we wish you all the best. And thank you again for being an awesome guest on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited about all that Baby Steps is doing, and I can't wait to continue seeing it grow.
Thank you so much. And to all of our listeners, we hope to have you back for our next episode of Unplanned and Untold. Bye-bye. Unplanned and Untold drops new episodes every other Wednesday. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review if you love this episode. I'm Caitlin Willing, and this is Unplanned and Untold.